A very warm welcome to a special program called Cricket Predictor on NewsX, powered by OneXBet. In yesterday's match at the Chepauk ground, the Chennai Super Kings, yes, they are Super Kings for no reasons. Their second consecutive victory by defeating the Gujarat Titans with a commanding 63-run margin. This win propelled CSK to the top of the points table with 4 points. Batting first, Chennai posted a formidable total of 206 runs with the loss of 6 wickets, powered by explosive innings from Rachin Ravindra. He seems like he's an Indian citizen. I think he should apply for citizenship here. He scored 46 runs of 20 deliveries. Shivam Dube, again 51 runs of 23 balls, along with a solid contribution from Captain Rituraj Gaikwad. It seems a bit odd when you read Captain Rituraj Gaikwad and not MS Dhoni for CSK, but that's life. In response, Gujarat Titans could only manage to score 143 runs for the loss of 8 wickets in their allotted 20 overs, falling short of the target. Rashid Khan starred with the ball for CSK, claiming 2 crucial wickets. Turning in today's match between Sunrisers Hyderabad and Mumbai Indians at the Rajiv Gandhi International Stadium in Hyderabad, both teams are eager to secure their first win of the season. Yes. Having suffered defeats in their opening matches, Sunrisers Hyderabad and Mumbai Indians are determined to bounce back and kickstart their campaign on a winning note. With a history of intense encounters between the two sides, comprising of 21 IPL matches thus far, Sunrisers Hyderabad has emerged victorious in 9 matches. Mumbai Indians have been triumphant in 12 encounters against Hyderabad. The stage is set for riveting contest as both teams aim to secure the crucial win and gain momentum early in the tournament. Well, we have a fantastic lineup today, but right now I'm just joined by Paul Dinette, the cricket podcaster, the journalist, the man who's got a sense of humor to take a punch or two when it comes to the Aussies, the high-paid Aussies with their low performance. Are you happy finally, Paul? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Sunil. I'm a bit nervous tonight because 2 of my favourites, speaking of the Aussies, 2 of my favourites are up against each other in Pat Cummins and Tim David. I'm a little bit worried about this Sunrisers Hyderabad outfit, and I'm hoping that Pat Cummins can lead them to a victory, but I'm tipping a strong victory from Mumbai. I think they do look the better side, and I'm hoping my man Tim David can make good with his career strike rate of 163. Anytime I get a chance to put that stat in there, I put it in there because I think it's absolutely incredible and why he's the most favourite player for me to watch.
Well, absolutely. But let's reflect back on yesterday's match. What do you think? What went right? What went wrong? I think when CSK plays in Chepauk, it's a foregone conclusion. Why wait? Why waste time, energy? Just go out and hand them over the toss and say, hey, you're the winners. Do you think they played and batted like winners yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, it was the final rematch. The final was fantastic last year, but this was a thrashing. I think the only thing that Gaikwad needs to do as captain is to insist that Dhoni bats up higher in the order, because that would be the only disappointment for the fans, that they didn't yet again get to see Dhoni take a bat. He took a really good catch. I think you mentioned Rachin Ravindra. He looks like a fantastic prospect. You said that he should be Indian. Well, he's a New Zealander, therefore I think I can claim him. He should come across and play for Australia. I'd be very happy for him to do that. I think it's one of these T20 games where sometimes the side batting first gets a powerful score. The second side, it's almost over before it begins. So Shivam Dube, that was the innings that I would want to play. Cracks a 50, smacks it to all parts, then gets subbed off and doesn't have to field. What a night for him.
Absolutely. I'm also joined by Atul Wasan, if you can get him on the screen and check his technical audio. Atul, were you happy with the way?
Can you see me?
Yeah, absolutely. You look great. You're one of the most handsome-looking grandfather cricketers in the circuit these days.
Why did you have to use this extra term, grandfather?
Okay, let me put it...
At least you've got good taste.
Let me put it this way. He's one of the few cricketers or few adventurers in the world who've traveled more than 107 countries. I don't know of anyone else who's traveled that far, but with his traveling experience, what do you make of the Chennai team last night, Atul?
Well, they have been a class act. They've always done well. But I think the main issue for me is that, Mumbai Indians, who are like the they're the calling card for IPL. They should start winning. And Chennai always, last year also, I never thought they will win. But they've always shown that, they're always there. Somehow they managed to, come up with the kind of a match-winning performance. They've managed to find the quality players somehow. And that has to do with probably that kind of, some kind of energy in the team setup, or, it's probably the magic of MS Dhoni. But I want to see Mumbai Indians to start winning the matches soon.
Absolutely. Mumbai Indians should start winning. Of course, when you have a lineup like Surya Kumar Yadav, Rohit Sharma, Brevis, Naman Dheer, would you want to talk a little bit about Naman Dheer? Where he comes from? Where is he? Who's he? Have you seen him play? Young batting talent for Mumbai. In the last match against Gujarat Titans, scored 20 runs of just 10 deliveries, 3 fours and a 6, with a strike rate of 200. Is it too early for him to join the party?
Well, I actually, to be honest, I don't know much about him because, last season, somehow, Nihal Vadhera and, Tilak Verma were the two outstanding players who we didn't know much about. But now they've thrown in this Naman Dheer, and I've not seen him play and not heard of him because I've been following the
Atul, I'm going to extend this question into a different trajectory. You were the one, as the head of chief of selectors, to point your finger on the nerves and ask Rishabh Pant to lead the Delhi Ranji side. Now, do you think the talent scouting is now coming into act here, and it's a professional full-time job where you scout talent and throw them onto the big stage? Your views?
I think so. I think IPL has matured enough to actually go down the track of, all the leagues in USA where they've got year-round talent scouts, going all over the country. But I think somehow some teams are overdoing it because once you get them and then they have the open trials and all. But how do you keep them interested? If somebody is good enough to be called to the trials and if he doesn't get in, how do you retain that talent? How do you see maybe next year he'll be ready if he's not ready as yet? How do you give experience? How do you convince the states to make sure that he plays for the state and actually gets to get the experience of playing high pressure games? So that is the big question. Unless you have a year-round academy system, and now most franchises have their teams playing globally. They've got global franchises. So probably they can use these players there. But then the problem is that once they start playing there, only retired players can play. This is because if somebody is aspiring to play for India and a young player, he cannot play abroad. So how do you give them experience is the main issue for the franchises. Absolutely.
That's an important issue. Paul Dinette, what do you make of the Sunrisers Hyderabad, Klassen, Mayank Agarwal, Abhishek Sharma, Rahul Tripathi? All are egging out to go there. I'll just read out a stat for you. Mayank Agarwal played a stabilizing knock of 32 runs of 21 deliveries with 4 fours and a 6, and also provided a good start to SRH in the last match against KKR. Do you think he's joined the party or he's just about to register himself a little more?
Oh, he's a very good player. I remember him doing well in Australia a few years back. I think that I have my concerns about SRH, as I said, because I think that, you've got to wonder whether Bhuvneshwar Kumar is still the bowler, the fantastic bowler that he once was. He got a bit of tap last game. Klassen, who you mentioned, is clearly the batter that looks most promising, certainly judging off that last performance. And Pat Cummins, I'll have no argument about him in terms of his Test cricket ability and his one-day cricket ability. I think his weakest format is the T20. They're talking about maybe that they'll potentially drop Marco Jansen and bring in Faisal Haq Faruqi. It's a possibility that at some stage during the tournament they'd actually have to drop the captain. So they're still a good side, but I can see them finishing towards the bottom of the table.
Well, we've also looked at some impact players as well from both the sides. Nitish Rana and Harshit Rana from the Hyderabad. And for Mumbai Indians, it's going to be Brevis and Koitzi. Any thoughts before we move on to head-to-head of the team? Your views?
I think that Coetzee there is the one that's the most exciting. The South African. He's talking about people that you wish could be Australian. He's got a bit of an Australian attitude. He's got a real fire to him. He's a nasty type of bowler. He did pretty well in the first game, and I think that he is a point of difference for Mumbai. But obviously, the star, of course, is Bumrah, who's fast making a case to be. I think he's unquestionably the best bowler in the world at the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've just said it. Atul, I'd like to get in your views on Jasprit Bumrah, Kodzi, Piyush Chawla and Luke Wood. Piyush Chawla did come for the party in the previous game. You know, he's still going strong, 30 plus, mid-30s, still had that zip and the rip to the ball.
Amazing, amazing, because, this shows that, leg spinners are worth their weight in gold. And at his stage of his career, he's still, putting the hard yards. I saw him practicing off-season, going to South Africa. And he's been part of the Mumbai Indians in playing the DY Patil local tournaments. And I think if they use him well, he could be if they have to use him up front, they have to use him as an attacking bowler.
Atul, you made
his key.
I'm sorry, you made a very interesting point about how when a player is not playing, especially in the team, not for the Indian team, he's not a contracted player. Instead of going to England, he goes to South Africa, Zimbabwe, or even goes to DY Patil international tournaments. Do you think that's a kind of a template that older players should go who are not in the contract zone? Your views?
And you can see that, they are being used so well because he is part of the Mumbai Indian family and they've kept him relevant. And that shows that, they actually value him. And they've been playing him, they've been sending him, he's been looking after the, youngsters, he's been looking after the team, the teams they're playing for DY Patil local tournament. So I think he's got a bigger role than just playing. But when he's playing also, and they are playing him in the, crucial matches, shows that, he has to step up to the plate because leg spinners with experience, I think you can't go and find them. Even if you go talent hunting, you will not get that kind of, that experience is the most important thing. You can get a leggy, but he has to put it on the spot at that big pressure moment. And that is why you need players who played a lot.
Absolutely. You've just made a very interesting point. You can replace a leg spinner from a leg spinner, but who would you get who would bowl years after years on the same spot, give that trip, give those different variations, and still be a match winner? Of course, we've got newcomers coming in. What do you make of the other spinners in the team playing tonight?
The Shams Bilani is somebody who's been playing and doing so well for Mumbai, but just for a left-arm spinner, just to keep his place is very difficult. You have to add value. You have to be, you have to have at least 2 or 3 dimensions to your value if you have to keep on playing regularly. And he's a bowler who's in the classic mode. So on all the pitches, he might not be favoured. And I think whenever he plays, it'll be where the surface is offering some support. But I think Tilak Verma is somebody who actually in Indian team also is trying to force him to bowl more. And I think when Mumbai Indians can use him as a bowler more and give him confidence, that'll work good for his career for the Indian team also.
Absolutely. That's an interesting point you've made. We'll come back to Bhuvneshwar Kumar. We've come back to Natarajan, Natu as they call him, and Jansen. But we are also joined by another guest. I think it's Stanley Chudza. Stanley, have I got your name right? And how's the weather there in Zimbabwe?
Well, the name is most certainly pronounced right, and I'll tell you what, the heat has calmed down. There's a bit of few rains overnight, so yes, it's cool and calm today. But obviously, it's a calm weather, but not so with regards to the match that we're looking forward to this evening.
Again, for the viewers, Stanley is the assistant coach, or was the assistant coach to the Zimbabwean team, and where he's sitting right now is the iconic Harare Sports Club, the stadium, which was formed in 1936. And I can bet Atul has few good memories of Harare Sports Club, especially in the last year. But we'll come back to you, Stanley. Stanley, what do you make of Marco Jansen, the tall guy who can produce some nip, the variation, and can take some bounce? Your views?
Well, obviously, just judging him from the first game, he hasn't really gotten into a rhythm, isn't it, when he played the KKR. But look, he's a world-class bowler, and he's the sort of player that I'm hoping he gets it right. If he gets an opportunity today, that is, because they've got other options in that squad. But generally, coaches obviously look to give a player a decent run, and which is, I think, what he needs, not having played in the Indian conditions for a while now. But, a bowler who brings you pace, who brings you bounce, and I think he's that sort of player who is important, in a surface like Hyderabad, where you've got a run rate of over 8 runs to the over. So that pace and bounce could possibly be the skill factor that is needed for that sort of a surface.
Absolutely. Well, I've got to go back to Atul Vasan, especially on the case of Bhuvneshwar Kumar and understand the mindset of a pace bowler, including Ishant Sharma. They are in the sunset of their career. What would be going in their mind? Is it the last hurrah they're waiting for, or they're just easing on and passing on the baton to the next generation? What would be going in their mind?
Well, they have actually done very well for the Indian team, and whenever they've got the chances, they are specialists for horses for courses kind of bowlers. But they are still professional cricketers, because this is the time where even if you don't play for the country, you can still be a professional cricketer, making your earnings and playing in tough cricket. And with the experience, I'm sure they can still last a few yards, because they might have lost a couple of yards in pace, but they've got that database. They've got that body of work to actually go and then in a tough situation, maybe just do that thing what the captain need and what maybe a new bowler with more talent, more pace cannot do. So I think this is a good space for them to just go and extend their playing years as long as they can, and probably add to their bank balance.
To bank balance, but what about the coaching part of it? Well, Ashish Nehra is definitely, he's like dug to a water, taking on the coaching mantle. Do you foresee one of these two guys to actually go that route?
Not really. I think it's not everybody's cup of tea just to coaching, because you have to be be very expressive. You have to be somebody who has got that X factor of wanting to do that first of all, and then actually have that managing skills also. If you and what I know of Ishant and Bhuvneshwar, they're not very expressive guys. So I think you need to be there, and because you have to interact with foreign players. Obviously, you've got the respect. You have been there, done it. So I think they can be part of the whole mentorship. But just as a chief coach, I'll find it hard for them to make me just being signed up by a franchise first. And
Atul, can I ask you a personal question on the coaching part? It's like a curveball. Will you take it?
Well, come out with it.
Okay. You've been the most expressive fast bowler India has seen in the last 30 years. You've got your views, you've got your opinions. Do you think you never relished the job of being a coach or something, especially coming in with your kind of England experience and playing for India and playing for Delhi?
No, I don't have the patience, first of all. Neither I have the soft skills to actually, sugarcoat things. And probably I'll just keep on fighting with all the players, because, I don't have that kind of tact or diplomacy. But you need that kind of thing also. And also, you need to be actually committed. It's a job where you can't just do it on the side. You have to be either all in or all out, And I think I'm not cut out for that. But I love to actually, go whenever I'm even selecting the teams and all. I love to interact with the players and probably just add a bit of my experience here and there. Because, sometimes I see a bowler, sometimes see a batsman. Probably they are just going down that very regimented kind of a way. And cricket has changed. So maybe I can just suggest something. I can't say that this will work, but just the way cricket is being played now, the way they don't bowl at the nets at all, which is very surprising for me. They spend more time in the gym than bowling in the net, and your bowling muscles sometimes are not developed enough. So I've got my own old world views, which might not work at all, or maybe work very well. You never know.
Very interesting, very interesting. I'll move on to another coach, which is Stanley. Stanley, how important is the toss today? We know of the skills, we know the player-to-player matchups, the head-to-head. What about the toss today? How important is it going to be?
Well, for starters, let me start to say, but it's in two, isn't it? I mean, you've got the historical side of it, and obviously you've got the recent times. In recent times, maybe you're looking at a span of over 5 years. You're looking at a span of over 5 years, you tend to, 4 to 5 years, you tend to see a change in scenario where a team that sort of like bat first tends to win more games. But if you then put it all together collectively, there's a massive opportunity for the team who generally looks to field first and then obviously look to chase. So I think all of these stats will be known by all teams, by all technical staffs, captains involved. So I know they'll be dancing around. Obviously, the Hyderabad, obviously having the Sunrisers better.
We'll come to that cricket predictor question in the last segment. But before we go on to that, I just want to ask you, how has the cricket changed? And especially when you start coaching the youngsters, have you developed your soft skills? Because you seem to be a tough cookie as well.
Well, look, it's the players that you meet, obviously, that bring out the best of you as well. Just as much as you'd want to bring the best out of the players, it's the sort of characters that you meet. I've been working in high performance ever since, for a very long time now. So obviously, yes, man management skills, soft skills are also part of high performance. So yeah, I'm still working on that. Remember, I lived being the Zimbabwe analyst.
For those who don't know, Stanley was handling the media for the cricket qualifiers for the ICC World Cup. And I must tell you, as a media party visiting there, he wasn't very polite, or he wasn't sugarcoating things. But that's a story for a different day. I'm going to go on to the last section today, which is the cricket predictor. And I'm going to get my Aussie friend from down under. Paul, who's your cricket predictor team for the night tonight, and why?
Well, as you know, I've been pretty unsuccessful with my predictions so far, so take this what you will. I think the Mumbai Indians are going to win handsomely. I just think that they are a better side, 1 through 11. Bumrah, absolute star. But even, across the entire side, I'm quite a fan of Milani, Shansulani.
Do you remember?
I'm confident.
Do you remember the previous time also you were betting on, your prediction was on Mumbai Indians and they lost?
Yep. As I said last show, if I get every single one wrong,
absolutely,
eventually I'll start to.
I think you're just like an Aussie team. You take time to warm up and get on to the right pit. Well, move on to Stanley before we close from Atul Vasan. Stanley, what's your team? Why and who's going to be your impact player? Very quick.
I think I'll go with the home team today, Sunrisers, and I think it comes down to that man in form, Henrik Klaasen. I think he's got a very, very crucial part to play today, especially with regards to scoring runs is concerned. And obviously, I think they've got a good balance in Pat Cummins and Marco Jansen. I didn't get it right the first game, but I think this is a team that's still gelling, and I think today is a perfect opportunity to go out playing at home.
Well, that's an interesting answer you gave. Very balanced view, non-committal as well at some time. We'll also get Atul Vasan before we wind up our show, the man who doesn't hold his punches.
I just fancy, Sunrisers today, because I was just in Hyderabad doing a different series, different league, and the wicket was superb. And I think Marco Jansen and Pat Cummins, they could be handful. Of course, Bumrah is always a threat, but I just feel that they've got more players who play on this kind of surface. So this could be that little bit of next factor going for the home team.
Let me sneak in another one. Do you think the previous loss will be playing on Mumbai Indians' minds when they walk in today?
Well, some points team will lose, and they have lost a lot also, and then still manage to win the league. So I don't think so they'll dwell too much on. They've got the experienced people who will tell them, and I'm sure the players also know there is no point. It's gone. Now this is T20 franchise. It's a new day. Anything can happen.
Well, it's a new day. Anything can happen, and Atul Vasan always believes on a new day, new beginning, and a new game altogether. Well, I thank my colleagues and my experts joining us from Australia, Zimbabwe, and from South Delhi. Well, that's all we had time for.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.